In this video, I'll be giving you a step-by-step guide on how to rent your first property in the UK. Hello everyone and welcome again to this channel. My name is Moya Adeyemi. If you're new to this channel, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button down below, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for your support. I've been privileged to rent property twice in the UK, so everything I'm going to be sharing in this video is going to be from my personal experience. The first thing that you need to consider before renting a property is your budget. How much are you able to pay for a property per month? When you know your budget, then you need to know what kind of property or what type of property are you going to rent, or what kind of property will suit your needs. There are different kinds or types of property in the UK. There is flat, apartment, there is house, there's bungalow, there's terraced houses, there is semi-detached houses, detached house, and sometimes the kind of property you are looking for might also make a difference in the price that you are going to be paying for such property. So when you know the kind of property you are looking for and you have a budget in mind, I think the next thing that you need to do is to look for a property. I'll be mentioning some of the websites that I actually use to search for properties, which are On The Market, Rightmove, OpenRent, Rentola, Zoopla, Houses to Sell and to Rent. These are some of the most popular websites that people use to search for properties in the UK. So once you go on these websites, then you start searching for the kind of houses that you want. Some of the websites that I've mentioned earlier, some of them have app, or even if you want to just use the website, you can just go on those websites and it will prompt you to enter a location of where you're willing to rent. So when you put the location, there's a filter for you to streamline your search, so you can say, okay, check that, okay, you want a flat, and uncheck other type of property that you are not willing to rent. So that is how to look for property. Once you search for properties on these websites that I mentioned and you find a place that you like, the next thing is to call or to send an email to the agent that is advertising the property. Personally, I would advise you to call them, except if it's in the advertisement that they don't want to receive calls, that you can only drop an email. But if not, so if there's an option to call and to email, I will advise you to call, because sometimes there are so many people that are looking at the same property that you are looking at, and I think calling will get through to them quicker than going to email. So once you call, these are some of the questions that most property agents will ask you when you're calling for a property. The first thing that they mostly ask is how many people are intending to move into that property. The number two question that is kind of unavoidable that they mostly ask is how much is your gross income. They want to know how much you are earning, because there's like this formula that they use to know if you can actually afford to rent a property. They will multiply the amount of that property. Let's say a property per year is £10,000, so they will multiply it by 2.5. that's £25,000. So you must be earning at least £25,000 per year before they can rent you such property. So that's like the way they calculate if you can actually afford the property. So if you're renting with your spouse, you have to calculate your salary together with your spouse salary. You add it together, and once you multiply the amount of renting that property per year by 2.5, you see is your combined income up to 2.5 of that house rent. If it's up to that, then they will rent you that property. But if it's lesser than that, most times they will say no. So those are the two major questions that they ask. Some agents might ask you other questions depending on, maybe they are looking for a particular set of people. Some people want students, some people want family, some people want single. So they might ask you those questions. But the two earlier questions that I said are the two major questions that they will ask you. If you're suitable for that property, they will mostly book you an appointment to come and view the property. Viewing a property is very important, because sometimes what you see on the websites might be different from what you see in person. Some pictures that they use might be old picture of that house, and it's very good to go and view a property. Some agents offer online viewing, but most agents will advise you to come and view the property yourself. So once you book an appointment and you go for viewing, these are some of the questions I believe you should ask if you're going for a viewing. Ask what is the council tax band of the properties. So houses are in different council tax bands. The houses that are on in band A are like the cheapest council tax that you'll be paying. As it goes up the alphabet, the money you'll be paying also increases like that. So it's actually favorable for you to have a house that is in maybe A or B, and even if it is not in A or B, if it is in D or E or something, just ask so that you can go and search for how much is the council tax for that particular area, and you know that you can afford it before you say yes to that property. Also, some of the questions that you need to ask is looking around the house and really seeing, like looking really deep, if there's anything that you feel like is not looking right, or something that if you say yes to the property, they have to maybe look after before you go into that property. That is the time for you to look around and ask questions about the property. Ask whatever you feel like you need for that property to be in the taste that you would like to move into that property. So once you've gone for your viewing and you actually like the property and it looks good to you, and you say yes to the agent that you are willing to rent the property, they will usually give you a form or send you an online form on your email address for you to fill and to put your offer in for the property. Sometimes, if for example they are renting a property for £1,000 and there's a lot of people that is on that property, some agents might advise you to increase the offer so that you can be like the highest kind of bidder for the house. They will ask you how much you're willing to pay. So sometimes you might lower the fee. If it's like 1,000, you can say, okay, you're willing to pay 950. But I'll just advise you, if the house is 1,000, don't say you will pay 700. Most of the time, like they won't give you the property. So just ask a price around the amount of money that is already advertised for the property. So you can lower it like 50, like maximum 100. That's a bit tricky, but you can still go that low. And you can also increase it if the agent tells you that maybe there's a lot of people on the property. Yeah, so once you put your offer in, but don't put an offer that you know you can't afford. So once you put your offer in and it goes through and they come back to you to tell you that the landlord has agreed to your offer, the next thing that you need to do will be easier from there, because at this point the agent will be leading you through all the documents that you need to fill and everything. So most of the things that they'll be asking you at this point is to send in your reference. They want you to send them the official contact of most time your HR, so that they can confirm your salary that you have said earlier, and they know that okay, you're actually earning the amount that you claim that you're earning. The next thing that they ask you to send or to prove is that you have the right to rent in the UK. For most immigrants, I'm going to put the link down on the screen or in the description where you can get your right to rent code, and then you can share this with your landlord or with your agents that is helping you get the property. And then they are going to send you some documents that you're going to fill and some agreements. So I would just advise you to, those agreements can be a bit bulky and a lot lengthy, but I would just advise you to try as much as possible to read through those things, because it's actually good to go through those things so that there is no miscommunication. And also they will send you the inventory of how the property looks before you move in, so you have to cross-check those inventory with what you see when you move in, and if there's anything that does not tally, you need to call the attention of your landlord or your agent to it, so that at the end of your tenancy there won't be any disagreement between you and your agent. Holding deposits. This holding deposit is usually the first week rent. So for example, if your house rent is going to be £800, your first week rent will be £200. So they will ask you to pay this money. This is just to show a sign of seriousness that you are really interested in the property. And most agents have a policy that if in the middle of processing your renting, you suddenly change your mind about the property, they're not going to return this money to you. So this money is actually a way to make you committed to the property while they do their other checks. Before you pay for the house rent, there's another money that you also have to pay for, which they call the deposit. This deposit is usually equivalent to the price of renting your property for 5 weeks, and this deposit is not usually given to the landlord or to the agent. There's always this third party where they keep this money. This money is meant for, at the end of your tenancy, they will have to come to your property to inspect if everything is in good order, if there's no damages or anything. So if anything has been damaged during your period in the house, they are going to deduct the money for repairing such damage from that deposit. And if nothing has been damaged and the house is in good condition as it was presented to you, they will give you your full money back. Yeah, so once all the agreement has been done and all the documents and everything, you've read everything that you need to read and have signed everything, the next thing is to pay your house rent. So since you've paid the first 8-week house rent as a holding deposit. At this period, you only have to pay the 3 weeks that is left. Those are the monies that you have to pay before you move into your property. That is a simple step-by-step guide to renting your first property in the United Kingdom. If you have any questions whatsoever, if you got confused during my explanation and you want me to explain anything to you, please feel free to drop it down in the comments and I will be there to respond to your questions. Thank you so much for watching this video to this very point, and I'll see you in my next video.